The wallet lying on the sidewalk held more cash than she had seen in her entire life. And in the 3 seconds it took her to pick it up, her whole future would quietly begin to change. Before we continue, if you believe in stories where kindness is tested and truth always rises to the surface, take a moment to like this video, drop a comment, share it with someone who needs a little hope today, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness, because this channel lives on hidden truth stories just like this one. The late morning sun spilled gold across Cedarbrook Avenue, glinting off store windows and warming the cracked pavement where 17-year-old Noor Ibrahim pushed a wobbling grocery cart filled with dented cans and half-price bread. She worked the early shift at Halden's Grocery, stacking shelves before the store opened, and she used her 30-minute break to run errands for her grandmother, who could no longer walk far on her own. Noor's parents had passed years earlier in a factory fire, leaving her grandmother, Farida, as the only family she had left. They lived in a one-room apartment above a shuttered laundromat, where the pipes groaned all night and the heater worked only when it felt like it. Noor had learned early that dignity was not something the world handed you. It was something you built, brick by brick out of honesty, even when honesty cost you everything you didn't have to spare. That morning, as she crossed the intersection near the glass-fronted Halden Tower, she noticed something dark brown and rectangular, resting near the base of a lamppost, half hidden beneath a fallen advertising flyer. She almost walked past it. She had learned not to pick up things that weren't hers, because trouble in her neighborhood often came disguised as opportunity. But something made her stop. Crouch down and lift it gently, the way she might lift an injured bird. It was a wallet, thick with leather that felt more expensive than anything she owned, and when she opened it out of instinct rather than greed, her breath caught in her throat. Crisp $100 bills were folded neatly beside platinum cards, a driver's license bearing the name Julian Ashcroft, and a small photograph of a smiling little boy tucked behind a business card that read, in embossed silver letters, Ashcroft Global Holdings. Noor's hands trembled. She did the math without wanting to. There was enough cash in that wallet to pay 2 months of rent, to buy her grandmother the medicine she had been rationing, to finally fix the boots that let icy water seep into her socks every winter morning. For a moment, the city around her blurred, and she felt the specific, aching temptation of a person who has never once been given an easy way out. Then she thought of her grandmother's voice, worn soft by age but never soft on principle, telling her that a person's word was the only wealth the world couldn't take from them. Noor closed the wallet, tucked it carefully inside her jacket, and turned toward Halden Tower, the very building whose glass doors reflected a girl in a thrifted coat who had absolutely no idea she was about to be seen for exactly who she was. The lobby of Halden Tower was nothing like anywhere Noor had ever stood. Marble floors stretched out beneath crystal chandeliers, and security guards in sharp suits eyed her like she had wandered in from another planet. She almost turned back twice, her cheeks burning under the weight of stairs that made her feel smaller with every step. But she reminded herself this wasn't about her. It was about a stranger somewhere in this building who was probably searching his pockets in a panic. She approached the front desk and, in a voice steadier than she felt, explained that she had found a wallet belonging to a man named Julian Ashcroft. The receptionist's eyebrows lifted in surprise, and after a hushed phone call, Noor was asked to wait. What Noor didn't know was that Julian Ashcroft, the billionaire founder of Ashcroft Global Holdings, had not lost his wallet by accident. He had deliberately left it on that exact sidewalk 20 minutes earlier, part of a quiet experiment he ran every few months with his closest advisor, Marcus Whitfield. Julian had grown disillusioned with the endless flattery of boardrooms and the transactional nature of everyone who wanted something from him. He had begun testing strangers not out of cruelty, but out of a desperate hope that somewhere in the city there were still people who would do the right thing simply because it was right. Most people who found the wallet in these tests kept the cash and turned in the empty leather shell. If they returned anything at all, Julian had almost stopped believing anyone would be different. When Noor was led into a glass-walled office on the 40th floor, she found a tall man in a simple gray sweater standing by the window, his expression unreadable as he watched the city below. She held out the wallet without a word, too nervous to trust her voice. Julian turned, studied her for a long moment, and then opened the wallet slowly, counting the bills with visible disbelief. Every single dollar was there. Even the small photograph of his son, tucked exactly where he had placed it, remained untouched. He asked her quietly why she hadn't taken any of it, especially since her worn coat and tired. Eyes told him she could have used every bill inside. Noor answered simply that money spent on lies never truly belonged to you, and she would rather be poor and honest than comfortable and ashamed. Something in Julian's face shifted. The practiced composure of a billionaire, cracking just slightly, to reveal a man who had forgotten what real integrity looked like up close. He asked about her life, and though it embarrassed her, Noor answered honestly, describing her grandmother, her early shifts at Halden's grocery, the classes she had paused, because tuition and rent could not both be paid in the same month. Julian listened in a way few people had ever listened to her before, without pity, without performance, simply present. When she finished, he told her, almost to himself, that he had been searching for someone like her for longer than she could imagine, though he did not yet explain what he meant. He asked for her number, thanked her formally, and let her go. And Noor walked out of Halden Tower feeling strange and light, as though she had passed some invisible test she hadn't known she was taking, which of course she had. 2 days later, a black car pulled up outside the laundromat apartment, drawing curtains open all along the street. Julian arrived in person, not with cameras or fanfare, but with a folder and a proposal that left Noor and her grandmother speechless. He explained that Ashcroft Global Holdings ran a scholarship and mentorship program for young people of exceptional character, a program Julian personally oversaw because he trusted almost no one else to judge character honestly. He offered Noor full tuition to finish her education, a paid position in his company's community outreach division to gain real experience, and a modest stipend that would finally let her grandmother see a proper doctor. He told her plainly that money could buy talent easily, but it could not buy trust. And trust was the one thing he had built his entire empire on protecting. Farida wept openly, gripping Noor's hand as though she might float away, while Noor sat frozen, trying to understand that the wallet she had almost feared to touch had somehow touched her entire future instead. If this story moved something in you, even just a little, please take a second to like this video and share it with someone who still believes. Kindness matters, because stories like Noor's deserve to travel farther than algorithms alone will carry them. In the months that followed, Noor returned to school with a quiet fire in her, no longer weighed down by the fear that honesty was a luxury she couldn't afford. She excelled in her outreach role, often visiting families very much like her own, listening to them the way Julian had once listened to her. Julian, for his part, found himself changed as well, softened by the reminder that goodness still existed outside boardrooms and headlines, waiting patiently on sidewalks for someone brave enough to notice it. He began funding shelters near Cedarbrook Avenue, quietly without press releases, because Noor had taught him that the truest kindness rarely needs an audience. Before you go, if this story touched even a small corner of your heart, please leave a comment below and tell me the word kindness, so I know this story truly reached you. Years later, when people asked Noor how her life had changed so completely, she never spoke of luck or fate. She spoke of a single, quiet choice made on an ordinary sidewalk, when nobody was watching, and how that one honest decision had rippled outward, further than she ever could have imagined, proving that sometimes the smallest acts of integrity are the very things the universe is quietly testing us for.